Harin was tired. She had been working for 12 hours straight in the cargo inspection bay of Station Kepler 22. Her back hurt, her eyes were dry, and all she wanted was to go back to her small quarters and sleep. But there were still 3 more crates to check before her shift ended. She was a xenobiologist. That was a fancy word for someone who studied alien life. Harin worked on a space station that floated between star systems. Many different alien species came here to trade. Her job was to make sure nobody brought dangerous plants or animals onto the station. It was boring work, but it paid well. Harin opened the next crate. It was supposed to contain farming supplies. She saw bags of seeds and some tools. Everything looked normal. She was about to close it when she noticed something odd. There was a small container hidden in the corner, wrapped in thick cloth. She pulled it out carefully. The cloth fell away. Inside was an egg. Harin stared at it. The egg was beautiful. It looked like it was made of crystal. Warm light glowed inside it, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. She touched it gently. It was warm, very warm. Her scanner showed impossible readings. The DNA inside the egg was unlike anything in the station's huge database. The temperature should have killed any living thing, but somehow this egg was alive. Station rules were clear. If she found something without proper tags, she had to destroy it. No exceptions. Harin picked up her disposal tool. She should incinerate the egg right now, but something stopped her. The egg pulsed with light again. It seemed so desperate, so alone. Harin thought about her own childhood. She had grown up in foster care on Earth. She had moved from home to home, never really belonging anywhere. She knew what it felt like to be unwanted. Harin made a decision. She hid the egg in her jacket and finished her shift. Nobody noticed. That night, she smuggled it into her quarters. She set up monitoring equipment around it. She had to know what it was. For 3 days, Harin studied the egg. She ran every test she could think of. Nothing made sense. The egg should not exist. Its internal temperature was hot enough to melt metal. Its DNA was impossible, but it was alive and it was growing stronger. On the 4th day, the egg hatched. Harin was eating breakfast when she heard a cracking sound. She ran to her bedroom. The egg was breaking open. Pieces of crystal shell fell away. Something small moved inside. What came out was the most beautiful creature Harin had ever seen. It was tiny, no bigger than her hand. It looked like a reptile, but its scales shimmered with colors that changed from deep red to bright gold. It had small wings folded against its back. Its eyes were like liquid amber glowing from within. The creature looked at Harin. It made a sound like crackling fire. Then it tried to climb up her arm. Harin laughed. She picked up the tiny creature and held it close. It was so warm. It chirped again and nuzzled against her neck. In that moment, Harin fell in love. She did not know what this creature was, but she knew she would protect it. She named it Hwa. In Korean, her native language, the word meant fire. It seemed perfect. Taking care of Hwa was not easy. The creature ate constantly. Harin had to hand-feed her tiny pieces of meat. Hwa would not eat unless Harin was holding her. At night, Hwa slept curled up in Harin's hair. If Harin left the room even for a minute, Hwa would make sad crying sounds until she came back. Harin loved every moment of it. She asked her friend Tai-sung for help. He was an engineer who worked on the station. Harin trusted him. When she showed him Hwa, Tai-sung's eyes went wide. "What is that?" He whispered. "I don't know," Harin admitted. "But I need your help. Can you build something to keep her safe?" Tai-sung agreed. He built a special containment field for Harin's quarters. It was a good thing, too. A week after hatching, Hwa sneezed and accidentally set Harin's bed on fire. The creature was growing fast. Every day she got bigger and smarter. Soon she was the size of a cat. Hwa started trying to talk. She could not make human words yet, but she made sounds that seemed like she was trying. She learned to understand when Harin spoke to her. When Harin said no, Hwa would stop whatever she was doing. When Harin praised her, Hwa's scales would glow brighter with happiness. Harin had never been happier. For the first time in her life, she felt like she had real family. Hwa needed her. Hwa loved her. It did not matter that they were different species, but Harin's happiness could not last forever. Strange ships started appearing near the station. They were unlike any ships Harin had seen before. Their hulls shimmered with the same colors as Hwa's scales. They did not come close. They just watched, waiting. Commander Bora, who ran the station, noticed Harin acting strange. Harin was always sneaking back to her quarters. She was buying huge amounts of food. She looked tired all the time. Bora started asking questions. Harin made up excuses, but she knew she could not hide Hua forever. Then, 3 months after Hua hatched, everything changed. Harin was in her quarters, playing with Hua. The creature was now as big as a large dog. She could almost fly, though her wings were still too small to lift her properly. Hua was practicing by jumping from the bed to the couch, flapping her wings. Suddenly, alarms screamed through the station. Red lights flashed. An automated voice announced, "Emergency. Unknown vessels approaching. All personnel report to emergency stations." Harin ran to her window. Her heart stopped. 3 massive warships had appeared in space near the station. They were enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each ship looked like it was made of metal scales. They gleamed with the same red and gold colors as Hua. Hua started making distressed sounds. Her scales glowed brighter and brighter. She could feel something. She was afraid. Harin picked up Hua, holding the creature close even though she was now quite heavy. "It's okay," Harin whispered. "I've got you. I won't let anything happen to you." But Harin was afraid too. Those ships had come for Hua. She was certain of it. Someone out there was looking for her precious creature, and Harin had no idea what they would do when they found her. The station's communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in a language Harin had never heard. It was deep and powerful, like thunder mixed with the roar of fire. The translation computers could not understand it. But the meaning was clear in the tone. They were demanding something. They were searching. And they would tear the station apart to find what they wanted. Tae-sung burst through Harin's door. "You need to hide," he said, breathing hard. "Those ships are scanning every room. They're looking for something." "They're looking for her," Harin said, holding Hua tighter. Tae-sung looked at the warships through the window. Then he looked at Harin and Hua. He made a decision. "Come on, I know a place they won't think to scan. But we have to move now." Harin grabbed her emergency bag. Hua clung to her shoulders, wings wrapped around Harin's neck. Together they ran through the station corridors. Behind them, they could hear the sound of docking clamps engaging. The warships were boarding the station. Whoever was on those ships, they had come a long way to find Hua. And Harin knew that her quiet life as a xenobiologist was over. Everything was about to change. She just hoped that when it did, she and Hua would still be together. Because Harin had made a promise to herself the day Hua hatched. She would never abandon this creature. No matter what came next, they were family now. And family meant everything. Tae-sung led Harin and Hua through empty maintenance tunnels. The station was in chaos. People were running everywhere, trying to evacuate. Commander Bora's voice echoed through the speakers, telling everyone to stay calm. But nobody was calm. 3 alien warships had just appeared out of nowhere. Now armored soldiers were boarding the station. People were terrified. Harin held Hua close. The creature was shaking. Her scales were glowing so bright that they lit up the dark tunnel. Harin could feel heat coming off Hua's body. It was getting hotter by the minute. "In here," Tae-sung said, opening a hidden door. It led to an old storage room that nobody used anymore. "The scanners don't reach this section." "You should be safe." "Should be?" Harin asked. Tae-sung looked worried. "I don't know what those ships are capable of. Just stay quiet and stay hidden." He left to join the other engineers. Harin was alone with Hua in the dark storage room. She could hear footsteps in the corridors outside. Heavy footsteps. Not human. The aliens were searching the station room by room. Harin heard doors being torn open. She heard people screaming in fear. But the aliens did not seem to hurt anyone. They were just looking for something. Harin knew they were looking for Hua. Hours passed. Hua fell asleep in Harin's arms, exhausted from fear. Harin did not sleep. She listened to every sound, ready to run if the aliens found them. Then the storage room door exploded inward. 3 massive figures stepped inside. They were wearing armor that looked like it was made from dragon scales. But Harin could see their faces through their helmets. They were not completely alien. They looked almost human, but with reptilian features. They had scales on their skin, tails, and eyes that glowed with inner fire. The soldiers saw Harin holding Hua. They raised their weapons. Hua woke up. She saw the soldiers. She saw their weapons pointed at Harin. Something changed in the small creature. She jumped in front of Harin, spreading her small wings wide. She opened her mouth and released a jet of flame. The fire hit the soldiers. It did not hurt them through their armor, but it made them step back. They looked shocked. A creature this small should not be able to produce fire that hot. A new figure entered the storage room. This one was bigger than the others, over 7 feet tall. His scales were deep blue. His eyes glowed like stars. He wore no helmet. When he saw Hua, he stopped walking. His expression changed from anger to wonder. Then he dropped to one knee. The other soldiers did the same. They were bowing. To Hua, Harin did not understand what was happening. The big alien spoke. His voice was deep and powerful. A small device on his armor translated his words into human language. "Princess Hua," he said. "We have searched for you for so long. We thought you were lost forever." Harin's mind was spinning. Princess Hua was a princess? The alien looked at Harin. His glowing eyes studied her carefully. "You are the one who saved her egg. You are the one she bonded with." He bowed his head to Harin. "I am Fleet Commander Ganwu of the Wormkin Empire. And you, human, are now the most important person in our empire." Ganwu explained everything. His people were called the Wormkin. They were an ancient species of dragon-like beings. Hua was not just any Wormkin. She was the last princess of the royal family. 6 months ago, her family's ship had been attacked by enemies. Everyone thought Hua's egg had been destroyed. The Wormkin had been searching desperately ever since, but there was more. Ganwu told Harin about something called the First Mother Bond. In Wormkin culture, the first being that a hatchling bonds with becomes their first mother. This was a sacred relationship. It was more important than blood family. By bonding with Harin, Hua had declared that Harin was her true mother. "You must come with us," Ganwu said. "Princess Hua is too young to survive without her first mother. She needs you. Our empire needs you both." Harin looked at Hua. The little creature was pressed against her side, trusting her completely. Harin thought about everything Ganwu had said. She thought about leaving her job, her life on the station, everything she knew. "No," Harin said. "I can't just leave. I have a life here." Ganwu looked sad. "I understand this is difficult, but Princess Hua will die without you. The bond between First Mother and Hatchling is not just emotional. It is physical. She needs your presence to survive. Please, we can offer you anything. Wealth, status, a home. Name your price." Harin was about to refuse again when Hua made a small sound. It was the same sound she made when Harin left the room, a sound of pure sadness and fear. Harin looked down at the creature she had raised from an egg. Hua's golden eyes looked back at her, full of trust and love. Harin realized something. She could not leave Hua, not because of some bond or duty, but because she loved this creature more than anything. Hua was not just a pet or a responsibility. Hua was her daughter. "I'll come," Harin said quietly. Ganwu smiled. "Thank you. You have saved not just a princess but our entire empire's future." But before they could leave the station, more ships arrived. These ones were different. They had red and black colors. They positioned themselves between Ganwu's ships and the station. A new voice came over the communication channels. "Commander Ganwu," the voice said. It was a female voice, cold and sharp. "You have found the princess, but she does not belong to you. Hand her over to us. We are the rightful heirs to the throne." Ganwu's expression darkened. "Admiral Curie," he said, "you and your faction killed the princess's family. You have no claim to her." "We have every claim," Curie replied. "And we have the firepower to take what is ours." Harin watched through a window as more warships appeared. Now there were 2 fleets facing each other in space around the station. Both sides were preparing for battle, all because of what Commander Bora contacted them. "What is happening?" she demanded. "Why are there alien fleets about to start a war around my station?" Harin made a decision. She grabbed a communication device from one of Ganwu's soldiers. She broadcast on all channels so both fleets could hear her. "Listen to me," Harin said. Her voice was shaking but determined. "My name is Harin. I am Hua's first mother. I found her when she was just an egg. I raised her. I love her. And I am telling you right now, nobody is taking her anywhere against her will. When she is old enough, Hua will choose her own future. Until then, anyone who tries to take her by force will have to go through me." There was silence. Then Curie laughed. A human threatens the wormkin? How amusing. You have no power here, little human. Then Hua did something amazing. She lifted her head and roared. The sound was impossible. Hua was still small, barely bigger than a large dog, but her roar echoed across every communication channel. It was not just sound. It was power. It was command. It was the voice of royalty. Both fleets stopped moving. Every wormkin in space felt that roar deep in their bones. It was their princess claiming her authority. It was their princess, acknowledging Harin as her mother. Ganwu fell to one knee again. All of his soldiers did the same. Through the view screen, Harin could see wormkin on the other ships doing the same thing. Even Curie's fleet stopped their attack. The princess has spoken, Ganwu said. She has chosen her first mother. The human speaks with the princess's authority. That is our law. That is our way. Curie was silent for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. Very well. But there are tests. The first mother must prove herself worthy before the Grand Council. If this human fails, the princess comes to us. That is also our law. I accept, Harin said before Ganwu could stop her. You have 7 days, Curie said. 7 days to reach our homeworld and face the trials. If you fail, the princess is ours. Her ships turned and jumped into hyperspace, disappearing. Harin stood there, shaking. What had she just agreed to? She did not know anything about these trials. She did not know if she could pass them. Tae-sung ran into the room. Are you crazy? He asked. You just challenged an alien empire. Harin looked at Hua, who was looking back at her with complete trust. I didn't have a choice, she said. She's my daughter. I'll do whatever it takes to protect her. Ganwu stood up. The trials will be difficult. They are designed to test the bond between mother and hatchling. Many wormkin fail them. For a human, they will be even harder. I don't care, Harin said. Tell me what I need to do. Tae-sung stepped forward. She won't be doing it alone. I'm coming with you. Someone needs to make sure you don't get yourself killed. Harin smiled at her friend. Thank you. Commander Bora appeared on a view screen. I don't understand everything that just happened. But it seems you've become some kind of alien diplomat, Harin. Earth's government has given approval for you to go with them. Apparently, having good relations with a dragon empire is politically important. She paused. Good luck. And come back safe. Harin, Tae-sung, and Hua boarded Ganwu's flagship. As the ship prepared to jump into hyperspace, Harin looked back at Station Kepler 22. It had been her home for 3 years. Now she was leaving it behind, heading into unknown space to face trials she did not understand. She looked at Hua, who had fallen asleep against her chest, finally feeling safe. Harin stroked the creature's scales gently. What have I gotten us into? She whispered, but she already knew the answer. She had gotten them into a family, and she would do anything to keep that family together. The journey to the wormkin homeworld took 5 days. The flagship traveled through hyperspace, moving faster than light. Harin spent those days learning everything she could about wormkin culture. A young wormkin named Da-un was assigned to teach her. Taeyun was a navigator on the ship. She had bright green scales and sharp golden eyes. She did not like Harin. She made that very clear. You are human, Da-un said on the first day. You cannot possibly understand what it means to be first mother to a wormkin princess. You will fail the trials. Then Princess Hua will finally be raised by her own kind as she should be. Harin tried not to let the words hurt her. I love Hua, she said simply. That's what matters, Daeun snorted. Love is not enough. The trials require strength, sacrifice, and a bond deeper than you can imagine. You are weak. You are small. You will fail. Tae-sung wanted to defend Harin, but she stopped him. Let her think what she wants, Harin said. I'll prove myself when it matters. During the journey, Hua grew even more. She was now the size of a small horse. Her wings had become strong enough to lift her off the ground for short flights. She was also learning to speak. She could say simple words in both wormkin language and Korean. Her favorite phrase was safe. Was the Korean word for mother. Whenever Hua was scared or tired, she would curl up next to Harin and whisper, safe. Safe. Those words broke Harin's heart and filled it at the same time. This beautiful, powerful creature trusted her completely. Harin would not let her down. Tae-sung worked with the ship's engineers. He built Harin a special suit that could withstand extreme heat. The Wormkin homeworld was much hotter than any place humans normally lived. Without protection, Harin would not survive. On the 5th day, they arrived at Ignis Reach. Harin stood at a viewing window and stared in wonder. The planet was like nothing she had ever imagined. It had mountains made of black volcanic rock. Rivers of glowing red magma flowed through valleys. Cities were carved into the sides of volcanoes, built from black stone and metal that shimmered with heat. "It's beautiful," Harin whispered. "It is home," Ganwu said beside her. "The capital city, Ember's Crown, is built inside an active volcano. That is where the Grand Council waits. That is where you will face the trials." Harin felt a flutter of fear in her stomach, but she pushed it down. She had to be strong. For while the ship landed in a massive docking bay, as Harin stepped out, the heat hit her like a physical wall. Even inside the cooled landing area, the temperature was over 45 degrees Celsius. She activated her environmental suit. It would keep her alive, but she would still feel uncomfortably hot. Thousands of Wormkin had gathered to see them arrive. Some looked hopeful. They wanted to see their lost princess. Others looked angry. They did not want a human as first mother to their princess. Harin held Hua's claw as they walked through the crowds. Hua stayed close to her side, nervous about all the attention. Ganwu's soldiers surrounded them, keeping them safe. They were taken to the Grand Council chamber. It was a massive room carved into volcanic rock. 7 ancient Wormkin sat on thrones of black stone. They were the clan leaders who ruled the Wormkin Empire. They looked old and powerful and frightening. The eldest was High Matriarch Sua. Her scales were pure white. Her eyes were like looking into the heart of a star. When she spoke, her voice echoed through the chamber. "Harin of Earth," Sua said. "You claim to be first mother to Princess Hua. Admiral Curie contests this claim. She says no human can properly raise a Wormkin royal. What say you?" Harin stepped forward. Her legs were shaking, but she kept her voice steady. "I say that I found Hua when she was just an egg. I raised her. I love her. She chose me. That should be enough." Curie stood up from where she had been sitting. Her scales were dark red, like dried blood. "It is not enough. First mothers have always been Wormkin. This human breaks tradition. She weakens the throne." Sua raised her hand for silence. "There is only one way to settle this. The ancient trial of flames. 3 challenges to test the bond between mother and hatchling. If Harin passes, her claim is recognized. If she fails, Admiral Curie's faction gains custody of the princess." Harin swallowed hard. "I accept." The first trial came the next day. It was called the Bond of Fire. Harin had to enter a chamber filled with flames. Hua would be on the other side. Harin had to call to her daughter and trust that Hua would come through the fire. They could not touch each other. Only Harin's voice could guide Hua. Harin stood at the entrance to the fire chamber. The heat was incredible, even through her suit. Ganwu had warned her that the suit would only protect her for a few minutes. If she took too long, she would die. She stepped into the flames. It was like being inside a furnace. Harin could barely see through the fire. She could barely breathe. But she had to call to Hua. She had to trust their bond. Harin began to sing. It was a Korean lullaby her foster mother had sung to her when she was very small. It was the only good memory she had from childhood. She sang it to Hua every night before bed. Her voice was rough from the heat and smoke, but she kept singing. Tears ran down her face from the pain, but she did not stop. Through the flames, she saw movement. Hua was there on the other side, but the fire was too hot, even for a young Wormkin. Hua was afraid. "Come to me, baby," Harin called. "I've got you. I'll always protect you. Come to Uma." Hua hesitated. Then she spread her wings and walked into the fire. She moved slowly, step by step, following Harin's voice. The flames did not hurt Hua as much as they hurt Harin, but they were still painful for the young creature. They met in the center of the inferno. Harin wanted so badly to hold Hua, but the rule said she could not touch her. So she just kept singing, kept calling, until Hua had walked all the way through the fire to the other side where safety waited. When they finally got out, Harin collapsed. Medical staff rushed to help her. She had burns on her exposed skin, but she had passed the first trial. The second trial was called the Sacrifice of Comfort. The council gave Harin a choice. There was a rare medicine that could cure a problem with her eyes. Harin had been having trouble seeing clearly. It was caused by being exposed to Hwa's heat for so long. The problem would get worse. Eventually, Harin might go blind, but Harin could also use that same medicine to help Hwa. Hwa was growing so fast that it caused her pain. The medicine would make the growth less painful. Harin did not hesitate. She gave the medicine to Hwa. Curie sneered. You only do this because you know we are watching. It is not real sacrifice, but Tae-sung spoke up. Harin has been documenting her vision problems for weeks. She was terrified she would go blind. But she never told anyone because she did not want us to worry. This is not an act. She truly puts her daughter first. The council members looked at each other. They were impressed. Even Curie could not argue against that. The third trial was the most dangerous. It was called the Heart of Fire. Harin had to bond with Hwa through dragonfire. It would create a psychic link between them. They would be able to feel each other's emotions. They would be able to share thoughts. For Wormkin, this was natural. But for a human, it was deadly. Harin's brain was not designed to handle that much energy. The bonding could kill her. Ganwoo begged Harin not to do it. Daeun, who had been cold to Harin this whole time, suddenly looked worried. Please, Daewon said. You have already proven yourself. Do not risk your life. But Harin looked at Hwa. The young princess was watching her with those golden eyes full of trust and love. Harin knew what she had to do. I'm doing this, she said. We're family. Real family. And this bond will prove it. The bonding ritual began. Hwa placed her forehead against Harin's. The young princess released her inner fire, letting it flow into Harin's mind. The pain was beyond description. It felt like Harin's brain was burning. She screamed. But she did not pull away. She opened her mind and let Hwa's consciousness flow in. Suddenly, Harin could feel everything Hwa felt. She felt the warmth of the egg. She felt the terror of being alone. She felt the joy of seeing Harin's face for the first time. She felt Hwa's love, pure and complete and overwhelming. And Hwa felt Harin's memories too. The loneliness of foster care. The feeling of never belonging. The moment Harin decided to save the egg instead of destroying it. The love that had grown every single day since. They were connected now. Truly connected. Harin could feel Hwa's emotions as if they were her own. Hwa could sense Harin's thoughts. When the ritual ended, Harin collapsed. She did not wake up for 3 days. When she finally opened her eyes, Hwa was there, curled up beside her bed. The moment Harin woke, Hwa felt it through their bond. The young princess made a sound of pure relief and joy. High Matriarch Sua entered the medical room. You have done the impossible, Harin of Earth. You have passed all 3 trials. I declare you first mother to Princess Hwa, rightful heir to the throne of Ember. You are now Mother of Fire, honored by all Wormkin. Even Curie had to bow. The law was clear. Harin had proven herself. Daeun came to visit Harin later. The young navigator looked ashamed. I was wrong about you, she said. I have never seen such devotion even among our own people. I'm sorry for doubting you. May I call you friend? Harin smiled. Of course, everything seemed perfect. Harin had passed the trials. She and Hwa were officially family. The Wormkin Empire accepted her, but then news came that shattered the peace. A massive fleet had appeared in Wormkin space. They were the Ashwing Concordat, an ancient enemy. They sent a message demanding that Hwa be turned over to them. They claimed she had been promised to them in marriage centuries ago. If the Wormkin did not surrender Hwa within 48 hours, the Ashwing fleet would attack. They had enough warships to destroy the entire planet. Harin held Hwa close, feeling her daughter's terror through their new bond. She whispered the words that had become her promise, her vow, her entire purpose. Over my dead body. The Grand Council met in emergency session. The Ashwing Concordat had given them 48 hours to hand over Hwa or face destruction. The council chamber was filled with angry voices. Everyone was arguing about what to do. Counselor Jae-hwan wanted to negotiate. Perhaps we can make a deal with them, he said. There must be something else they want. High Matriarch Sua shook her head. The Ashwings do not negotiate. They conquer. They enslave. They have waited centuries for a Wormkin royal heir. They will not leave without her. Admiral Curie stood up. Harin was shocked to see fear in the fierce warrior's eyes. Perhaps we should give them what they want, Curie said quietly. One princess's life or the deaths of millions. It is a terrible choice, but it is the logical one. Harin felt rage burn through her.
No, she said, standing up.
Hua is not a bargaining chip. She is a child, my child, and I will not let anyone take her. Through their bond, Harin felt Hua's fear. The young princess was growing rapidly now. Stress was making her develop faster. She was nearly as big as a horse now, with wings strong enough for real flight. Her flames could melt steel. But she was still just a child, terrified of being taken from her mother. Harin had an idea. There is a way, she said. Ancient galactic law allows for asylum. If Hua officially requests protection from humanity and Earth accepts, then she becomes a human citizen. The old treaties would not apply anymore. The council members looked at each other. It was a clever solution. But it would make the Ashwings very angry. Ganwu smiled. Brilliant. The human thinks like a warrior and a diplomat. But we will need Earth's approval. Harin contacted Commander Bora. She explained the situation. Commander Bora contacted Earth's government. Hours passed while politicians debated. Finally, the answer came back. Yes, Earth would grant Hua asylum. Earth would stand with the Wormkin against the Ashwing threat. Ambassador Yeonji arrived from Earth to make it official. She was a stern woman with sharp eyes. My government sees the value in having strong relations with the Wormkin Empire, she said. We are happy to help, and Earth's military forces are being mobilized to assist in the defense. Harin felt a weight lift from her chest. Her people, the humans, were coming to help. It was not much. Human ships were small compared to Wormkin warships, but it was something. It showed that Harin was not alone in this fight. The Ashwing fleet's deadline approached. Ganwu mobilized every Wormkin warship. Taesung worked with Wormkin engineers to integrate human technology. Humans had excellent shield systems and creative tactics. Combined with Wormkin firepower, they might have a chance. Even Da-Un was assigned to command a fighter squadron. Before she left, she hugged Harin.
Thank you for teaching me what courage really means, she said.
I will fight for your daughter as if she were my own. Most surprising of all, Admiral Curie came to Harin. I was wrong, she said. I thought you were weak. I thought you did not deserve to be First Mother. But you are stronger than any warrior I have ever known. I will fight beside Commander Ganwu. For the princess. For you. Harin tried to thank her, but Curie was already walking away to prepare for battle. The Wormkin wanted to hide Harin and Hua in a secure bunker deep underground. Harin refused. If everyone is fighting for my daughter, then I stand with them. I will not hide while others die for us. The Ashwing fleet attacked exactly on schedule. Harin watched from the command center as hundreds of warships filled the sky. The Ashwing leader, War Sovereign Byung-ho, broadcast a message. He was a cruel-looking being with black scales and eyes like dead stars. This is your last chance, Byung-ho said. Give us the princess. Or watch your world burn, High Matriarch Sua responded. Princess Hua is under the protection of her first mother and the human species. Your ancient treaties are void. Leave now or face the consequences. Byung-ho laughed. Then he destroyed an empty moon orbiting the planet. It simply exploded into dust. The message was clear. The Ashwings had the power to destroy anything they wanted. The battle began. It was the largest space battle Harin had ever seen. Wormkin dreadnoughts unleashed torrents of dragonfire. Ashwing ships responded with plasma weapons. Human vessels darted between the massive ships, their shields absorbing hits that would have destroyed them, then returning fire at vulnerable points. On the ground, Harin helped coordinate civilian evacuations. Her xenobiology training was useful for treating wounded Wormkin. Hua stayed close, using her growing strength to rescue people trapped in collapsed buildings. The Wormkin population watched their princess, still young, still learning, fighting to protect them. They began to understand why Harin loved her so much. But the battle was going badly. The Ashwing fleet was too strong. They had been preparing for this moment for centuries. Slowly, they pushed through the Wormkin defenses. Then Byung-ho's flagship broke through. It headed straight for Ember's Crown, where Harin and Hua were. The ship's weapons powered up. It was going to destroy the entire city. Ganwu's forces were too far away to stop it. Harin pulled Hua close. She felt the young princess's terror through their bond. But she also felt something else. Rage. Hua was tired of being afraid. Tired of running. Tired of others fighting for her while she hid. Hua pulled away from Harin. She spread her wings, wider than they had ever been before. She looked at her mother with those golden eyes, and Harin understood. Hua was going to fight. No, Harin whispered. You're too young. It's too dangerous. But Hua launched herself into the sky. Her wings beat powerfully, lifting her higher and higher. She flew toward Byung-ho's flagship. Harin screamed for her to come back, but Hua did not listen. The young princess opened her mouth and released fire. It was not normal dragon fire. This was something else. It was pure energy, pure power, the ancient magic of royal Wormkin bloodlines. The fire was white-hot, brighter than the sun. It struck Byung-ho's flagship and simply unmade it. The massive warship did not explode. It just stopped existing, vaporized in an instant. Every Wormkin in the system felt Hua's power. They felt their princess, no longer a hatchling but a true royal, claiming her place. They felt her rage and her love and her determination to protect her people. The Ashwing fleet stopped attacking. They had thought the royal bloodline was weak. They had thought a young princess would be easy to control. They were wrong, Hua roared again. This time it was a command. It was ancient royal authority made into sound. It said, "Leave. Now. Or face the same fate as your leader." The second in command of the Ashwing fleet made a decision. She had seen her leader destroyed in seconds. She had felt the power of an awakened royal. She did what Byung-ho would never have done. She surrendered. "The treaty is void," she broadcast. "The Ashwing Concordat withdraws its claim. The princess is yours." The Ashwing ships turned and jumped into hyperspace, fleeing. Harin watched it all from the ground. Then she saw Hua falling. The young princess had used too much power. She was exhausted, burning out. She was falling from the sky. Harin ran. She pushed through crowds, ignoring her own exhaustion and pain. She had to catch her daughter. She had to save her. Hua crashed into Harin's arms. She was huge now, as big as a small shuttle. But Harin caught her anyway. They fell together, rolling across the ground. When they stopped, Harin was holding Hua's massive head in her lap. "You scared me," Harin whispered, crying. "Don't ever do that again." Through their bond, she felt Hua's response. It was not words, but emotions, love, gratitude, safety, home. The Wormkin population erupted in celebration. They had won. The Ashwings were gone. The ancient threat was over.
High Matriarch Sua made an announcement that echoed across the planet. Princess Hua is the rightful empress.
And Harin, First Mother, is now Mother of Fire to all Wormkin. She represents everything we value. Love, protection, sacrifice. She is honored by all our people now and forever. Harin did not care about titles or honor. She just held her daughter close and whispered, "You're safe. I've got you. We're okay." Hua made a soft sound like contentment. Safe," she whispered back. Safe." For the first time since finding that egg months ago, Harin allowed herself to relax. They had survived. They were together. They were family, but 3 months later, late one night, Hua woke up screaming. She had had a nightmare. But it was not just any nightmare. Royal Wormkin sometimes had visions of the future, and what Hua had seen terrified her. Harin held her daughter, feeling the terror through their bond. "What did you see, baby? What's wrong?" Hua's voice shook. She was speaking better now, but fear made her words halting. "Saw darkness, old darkness. Coming for everyone. Coming for everything. And I saw you. You were burning. You were dying. You were saving us all. But you were dying." Harin's blood ran cold. "It was just a dream," she said, trying to comfort Hua. But she knew better. Royal visions were not just dreams. They were warnings. Something terrible was coming. And somehow Harin would have to face it. Hua's vision haunted them both. Harin tried to pretend it meant nothing. She focused on preparing Hua for her coronation as empress. Hua was nearly full-grown now, with wings that spanned 30 meters. She was magnificent and powerful. But she was also scared. Through their bond, Harin could feel Hua's fear. The young dragon was terrified of losing her mother. The vision had shown Harin dying. Hua could not stop thinking about it. High Matriarch Sua called Harin to the Grand Council. The ancient leader looked worried. "Other Wormkin have been having similar visions," she said. "We have searched our historical archives. We found something disturbing." She showed Harin ancient records. 10,000 years ago, the Wormkin had almost been destroyed by something called the Void Swarm. It was a parasitic entity that consumed entire civilizations. The swarm had been stopped, but only barely. A Wormkin Empress had sacrificed herself to create a barrier of flame that contained the swarm. It had been dormant for thousands of years, until now. Ambassador Yunji brought terrible news from Earth. Human colonies on the far edges of space had gone silent. Investigation teams found entire settlements empty. People had just vanished. The pattern matched ancient Wormkin records of void swarm attacks. The swarm was awakening, and it was coming for everyone. Harin studied the ancient records with Taesung's help. They read about how the old Empress had stopped the swarm. It required incredible power channeled through the royal bloodline. The Empress had burned herself out, creating a flame barrier that held the swarm at bay for centuries. Harin understood what the vision meant now. To stop the swarm, someone would have to make the same sacrifice. And the vision showed that person was her. But Harin was human. She did not have that kind of power. Unless she used her bond with Hua. Through their connection, Harin carried a fragment of Hua's power. If she channeled all of Hua's energy through herself, she might be able to recreate the ancient barrier. But it would kill her. No human body could withstand that much power. When Hua learned about this, she refused completely. "No," she said, her voice now clear and strong. "I will not lose you, Amma. We will find another way." Harin held her daughter close. "We will," she promised. But deep down, she was not sure. Harin proposed a different solution. They would unite every spacefaring species in the galaxy into one massive defense force. She would use her position as Mother of Fire and humanity's diplomatic skills to broker an alliance. It was ambitious. Many species had been enemies for centuries, but the Void Swarm threatened everyone. Harin and Hua traveled across the galaxy. They met with alien councils and governments. Harin spoke passionately about unity and survival. Hua stood beside her, a symbol of hope and power. Slowly, impossibly, species began to agree. 53 different alien species pledged their forces to fight the swarm. It was the largest coalition in galactic history. Even Admiral Curie was impressed. "You have done what no one thought possible," she told Harin. "You have united the galaxy." The Void Swarm emerged from deep space. It was a wave of darkness consuming everything in its path. Stars went dark as it passed. Planets were stripped of all life. The coalition fleet moved to intercept. The battle was massive. Thousands of ships from dozens of species fought together. Hua fought alongside Ganwu and Da'un, her flames lighting up the darkness. Harin coordinated strategy from a flagship, using her bond with HFY to provide real-time tactical information. But the swarm adapted too quickly. It learned from every attack. Coalition forces were being overwhelmed. Ships were being destroyed faster than they could retreat. Harin watched the battle unfold and realized the terrible truth. They could not win this way. The ancient solution was the only way. Harin did not tell Hua what she was planning. She recorded final messages for Taesung, Commander Bora, and Earth. She wrote a letter for Hua, full of love and pride and hope. Then she went to the ship's power core. She initiated the bonding ritual. She reached out through her connection with Hua and pulled. She called for her daughter's power. All of it, Hua felt it immediately. She was in the middle of combat, burning through swarm creatures when she felt Harin pulling her power away. She realized what was happening. She screamed and tried to break the connection, but Harin held firm. "I love you," she whispered through their bond. "You are going to be an amazing empress. Lead them well, my daughter. I am so proud of you." The power flowed into Harin. It was agony. It felt like every cell in her body was burning. But she held on. She gathered all of Hua's power, all of that ancient royal energy, and she released it. Fire exploded outward from the flagship. It was not normal fire. It was pure energy, pure light, pure love made manifest. The barrier expanded, consuming the Void Swarm. The darkness burned. It screamed as it died. But the flames did not stop until every trace of the swarm was gone. When the fire finally faded, the coalition fleet floated in stunned silence. The swarm was destroyed. The galaxy was saved. Hua flew to the flagship as fast as her wings could carry her. She tore through airlocks, not caring about the damage. She found Harin in the power core, collapsed and barely breathing. The medical team said it was impossible Harin had survived. No human should have been able to channel that much power. But Hua realized something. Their bond did not just flow one way. When Harin had taken Hua's power, Hua had instinctively pushed some of her life force back. She had tried to protect her mother just as her mother had always protected her. Harin woke up 3 days later. Her body had changed. Her skin had faint scale patterns now. Her eyes glowed softly in darkness. The bond had transformed her on a fundamental level. She was not quite human anymore. Not quite Wormkin. Something new. Something in between. What happened? Harin whispered. You saved us all, Hua said, crying tears of joy and relief. And I saved you? We saved each other, Umma. High Matriarch Sua visited Harin in the medical bay. You have done the impossible once again. The galaxy owes you a debt that can never be repaid. The coalition that had formed to fight the swarm became permanent. The Galactic Union was established. Hua and Harin were founding members. Humanity, which had once been ignored by most alien species, became a key diplomatic power. Everyone had seen what humans were capable of when they loved completely. 5 years passed. Empress Hua ruled the Wormkin with wisdom and compassion. Harin stood at her side as chief advisor and mother of fire. The title had become more than ceremonial. Harin was considered sacred by the Wormkin, a bridge between species, a symbol of what love could accomplish. Da'un commanded her own fleet, protecting the outer territories. Ganwu had retired to teach at the military academy. Even Curie served the Empire faithfully now. Taesung visited regularly from Earth, bringing news and stories. One evening, Harin and Hua sat together on the palace balcony overlooking Ember's crown. The city glowed with warmth and life. Hua was magnificent now, a full-grown empress with scales that shimmered like jewels. But when she curled up next to Harin, she was still the tiny hatchling who had first chirped for her mother. Do you regret it? Hua asked. Finding my egg? Everything that happened after? Harin laughed and stroked Hua's scales. Not for a second. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Even though I am not human, you are my daughter, Harin said simply. That is all that matters. Hua rumbled with contentment. It sounded like distant thunder. I had another vision last night, Oma. Harin tensed. What did you see? Do not worry. This was a good vision. I saw the future, centuries from now. Our people, human and Wormkin and all the others, spreading across the galaxy together, building, exploring, learning, and everywhere they go, they tell stories. What kind of stories? Harin asked. Stories about a mother who loved her daughter enough to burn the stars. Stories about a human who taught dragons what family really means. Stories about you. Harin felt tears in her eyes. That sounds like a good future. The best future, Hua agreed. Thank you for giving it to us. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for choosing me back, Harin said. They sat in comfortable silence as the twin moons rose over Ignis Reach. In the city below, they could hear singing. A mother was singing a lullaby to her child. It was a human song mixed with Wormkin harmonics, a perfect blend of two cultures becoming one family. Harin thought about her journey. She had been alone for so long. She had never really belonged anywhere. But then she found an egg that should not have existed. She made a choice that changed everything. She chose love over rules. She chose family over fear. And that choice had saved the galaxy. Harin looked at Hua, her daughter, her empress, her heart made real. She thought about all the foster children on Earth who would grow up hearing their story. She thought about all the beings across the galaxy who would learn that family was not about biology. It was about choice, about love, about never giving up on those who needed you. I love you, Hua, Harin whispered. I love you, Uma, Hua replied. Always and forever, the mother of fire and her daughter, the empress of the Wormkin, watched the stars together. They knew more challenges would come, but they also knew they would face them together, because that was what family did, and their family had saved the galaxy once already. Harin smiled, watching the stars twinkle above them. Whatever came next, she was ready. As long as Hua was beside her, she could face anything. The tiny alien hatchling she had adopted was now a magnificent empress. The lonely scientist had become the mother of fire, honored across the galaxy. But more importantly, they had become what they both needed most. They had become family, and that, Harin thought, was the greatest adventure of all.